My name is Ruth Ann Allison, and this is an informative speech on domestic violence. Linda stands in the kitchen. She's cooking supper, slowly peeling the potatoes and dicing them small, just the way that Tom likes them. But all she can think about is how badly she hates her husband. Her cheek smarts from the blow he gave her today in the face. He came home and found a dirty knife in the kitchen sink. Hadn't he told Linda that the house better be clean when he got home? Her body aches all over from the daily punches. Linda knows that his temper is getting worse and that one day he may go too far and kill her. Linda's afraid. She doesn't know where she can go. Just recently she spoke to her father and told him a little of the mistreatment that she was receiving at home. He told her that she had made her bed by marrying way too young, and now she had to lie in it. Linda's too embarrassed to tell her best friend Laura. Her friends and family have no idea what Tom's really like. Linda's afraid. She's afraid to stay. She's afraid to go. She's afraid to sleep. She's even afraid when she's awake. Linda hates her life. Of course, Linda is a fictitious character. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, she represents 1.3 million women who experience violence from their male partner each year. 85% of the domestic violence victims are women. Of course, women are not the only ones suffering. Domestic violence crosses all lines of race, nationality, age, gender, and religion. But today, I'm going to focus on the female victim of an abuser, of a male abuser. According to Safe Place in Northwest Alabama, domestic violence occurs when one partner wants total control over the other. The abuser in this case, the male, uses physical violence. He punches, kicks, yells, shoves, pulls hair, and sometimes he goes to more extreme violence, such as stabbing and shooting, to terrorize the female into doing what he wants. Along with the physical violence, he may use emotional tactics as well. He will threaten them, threaten their families, their children, their neighbors, and even their pets. These women have experienced the firsthand the pain that he can deliver. They are afraid for their families, friends, and children. They isolate themselves from everyone. Now he has just what he wants, total control. There are a lot of reasons these women stay. For example, they're afraid that if he finds out that they want to leave, he may become more violent. They're afraid if they do leave, that if he finds them, he will become more violent than before. Finances are also a great concern for these women, especially if they have children. Most of these women have not been able to work outside the home. The abuser has had total control over their money. These women fear how they will be able to support themselves and their children. Many of these women also stay because the abuser promises that things will get better or that they will seek help. These are promises that most abusers do not keep. This is a pie graph on power and control. These are many of the tactics, emotional and physical tactics, these men use against the females. This is also the cycle of abuse. It usually begins with some tension and then escalates to violence. And then they may experience a honeymoon phase where things seem to get a little better. And then it just starts back over. It's a vicious cycle. Most of the women are unaware of the resources available to them and the support that's available to them. The abuser has kept them isolated for so long from the outside world. These are some of the resources that may help. In an emergency, they can call 911 or their local law enforcement agency. They can turn to someone that they trust. It can be a loved one, a friend, a neighbor, a co-worker, or a spiritual advisor. They may also contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 1-800-799-SAFE. This hotline offers crisis intervention, and they can also give referrals to resources such as women's shelters. A local women's shelter or crisis center typically offers 24-hour emergency care services, an emergency shelter, as well as advice on legal matters and advocacy and support services. A counseling or mental health center also offers women in abusive relationships groups that they can go to. Contact your local, they can also contact their local court. The district court can help them obtain a restraining order. This is an order that the abuser must stay away from their victim or they will face arrest. There's local advocates that also are able to help them. It can be hard to recognize that these people are in an abusive relationship, but there is help available. Remember, no one deserves to be abused. Obviously, living in an abusive relationship has many effects on the abused. They live in a sad, isolated world. In extreme cases, these victims are not allowed to visit their own family members, unless if the abuser is with them. They're not allowed to talk to friends. They're not allowed to use the phone. They're not allowed to leave in the car. They're not allowed to attend church services or any other social functionings. Once the abuser has successfully cut the woman off from everyone but him, he has complete control of her. He knows he has control over what she does, where she goes, who she speaks to, and the finances. These women don't have to live like this. There are too many resources and people to help. Nobody has to live life like this. If you or anybody else that you know are victims of abuse, victims of this cycle, you may call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 1-800-799-SAFE.